Hi, I'm Becca Otis from Five Lines Pottery in Indianapolis, Indiana.
And I'm Ryan Durbin from RD Ceramics, located in Southgate, Kentucky.
And welcome to Wheel Talk.
Hey guys, we've loved answering all of your questions so far. If you'd like to hear your question on the podcast, please send them to us on Instagram at Wheel Talk Podcast or by email to wheeltalkpodcast@gmail.com. Thanks. Got it.
Got it. Started.
We're live.
Oh! Ryan's getting sick.
No, I'm not.
Yes, you are.
False.
Correct
that it's false.
Live. But Becca's not sick anymore.
I tried to do the high pitch, but it didn't work.
Do you want to try it again?
No. The moment's passed.
The moment's passed. Hi.
Hi. Drinking a Bev, huh?
Yeah, I still have a few left.
Haven't seen old Bev in a while.
Yeah. Beverly. Mm-hmm. Beverly. Drinking a Bev. I found it in my fridge today.
Nice. Which version is it, or which flavor is it?
It's the Sauv Blanc, which is my second favorite.
That's my like favorite... just a nice mid-range white.
Yes. Sweet-ish.
It's just like
white.
Right down the middle.
Yeah. I feel like it's the intro white. Maybe a Pinot is the intro
That's like
white.
A house white.
Not Pinot. Not Pinot. The Riesling is like an intro white because it's like sweeter.
I love Riesling.
Yeah.
Riesling Moscato is my jam.
Moscato is not Riesling, right?
I said Riesling and I meant Riesling
and Moscato.
Moscato or Riesling / Moscato.
Yeah, Pinot is
my
right.
jam.
I don't know what I'm thinking. Today's been a long day. Yes. How are you?
I'm doing all right. Unloaded a kiln today.
Yeah.
Getting ready for my show this weekend in Lexington, so we'll see how that goes.
Are you doing the wood something?
Woodland. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, Bear reached out and was like, hey, if you need anything while you're in Lexington this weekend, let me know.
Yeah. He's really awesome. He'll probably stop by. He asked me if I was going, and I was like, no, why? And he was like, fine, no tacos for you. And
He was going to make you tacos, or he knows a good taco spot?
There's a good taco place. Yeah.
Ooh, maybe I'll need to ask him that.
Yeah, it's right by his house.
Okay. So, yeah, we'll see how that show goes. It's a 2-day. Prior to this year, that was my best show I'd ever done, which I think we talked about it in, like, episode 6 or something like that. So.
Wow.
Yeah, we'll see how it goes. I think it'll be a good turnout. Because they canceled it last year, and it's a really big park, and it's a pretty good-sized show. There's a lot of different vendors there, and it's an art show, so you get some buyers.
Nice. That'll be great.
I have good high hopes. Gonna bring plenty of product.
Yeah, get it. Get it.
So that's pretty much all that's going on over here.
I expect a massively, like, a text at the end of the day saying, like, I fucking sold this much.
At the end of each day.
Yes. That's what I expect.
Yeah, I feel like I'm going to break 4,000.
Hell yeah.
We'll see. But I think that's a good guess.
I mean,
I'm kind of confident in that.
It's 2 days?
Yeah. Saturday, Sunday, it's 10 to 6 and 10 to 5, so. As long as the weather's good, fingers crossed, knock on wood, all those things, that the weather's good. But it's been a lot more enjoyable outside these days than the last couple months have been, so I think it'll be a good time of year for people to get out.
That's good. Yeah. Hell yeah. People want to be outside right now. It's like not too hot, not too cold. I mean, it's still fucking hot, but it's like less hot. Yeah. Or something.
All right, what's new with you? I know you've got Cat Saga going on.
Yeah, but first, somebody charged. I have an Amazon Prime credit card that I used to get AirPods. Remember when I was at your house in October?
Yeah.
And I've never used it. I bought the AirPods, paid it off,
And you still have the card, but you like threw it in a drawer or something like that?
I might have actually cut it up. I don't know. I don't know where the card is.
Did you cancel it though?
No.
You just cut it up?
Yes.
Does that do anything?
You know what? I don't know. And
so what happened with it?
So I kept getting these emails with this bill, and I kept getting these emails with these bills, and I was like, this is a scam. Like, I haven't used this card.
Yeah.
And it was like, you're past due.
I'm sure the bill and the account activities inside of Amazon somewhere, right? Like, you can look at your account and see the activity on it, or it's a completely separate account with MasterCard or something like that.
It's a completely separate account with Chase, but it's through Prime, so you like go through Prime to get to Chase. Anyway, so the bill that came in the mail was $444, and keep in mind I've never used this card, and except for once. So then I call the phone number on the paper bill. And I was like, I need to talk to a person, I'm not giving you any of my information, need to talk to a person. And the last question that I heard, I think, was, can you please input your whole social security number?
That sounds like a scam.
Yeah, and I was like, no, I can't.
I would go directly to Amazon, go into the account where I know I can trust the website, and then go into the Chase and see the account activity, and then I would contact them from there. That's what I would do.
That would be great, but I have no idea how to get into Chase to see the account activity. So, anyway, I found Chase's phone number on Google instead, and and she answered the phone, and she did not identify herself. You know, like, when they identify themselves, they say, like, my ID is 12567 or whatever. So then I called Chase, and I was like, oh, yeah, that definitely was a scam. And so I got the whole fraud thing and disputed the charge and yada, yada, yada. So that was fun.
So they did actually spend money on your card, and they actually sent you a scam letter.
Yeah, to pay it to them. Yeah.
Gotcha.
I'm like, it was pretty clever. I'm not going to lie.
It's kind of clever.
I
mean, they control what goes in the letter. I'm sure it looked legit.
Yeah.
They can just copy and paste images and...
Yeah, it looks exactly legit. So, so keep that in mind. Don't do that. And, like, I never usually go straight from it, but I kind of wanted to see. Hi, Charles. And, so that happened this morning. And then a week ago, I adopted a cat because it showed up at my friend's house, and she couldn't take it. And so I took her in after some thought. And then...
she's been getting adjusted to Lloyd a little bit. And...
Yeah, I named her Babs, and we're having a whole saga on Instagram, and multiple people have messaged me saying that this is better than any drama on TV. Somebody was like, this is better than the Real Housewives of Brooklyn or something. I don't know. I don't know any of the housewives.
I'm sure there's plenty of things better than that.
Yeah, I'm sure there is. But yeah, it's been fun. Babs and Lloyd. I named her Babs so it sounded like an old married couple that fights all the time, because that's what they're going to do probably. So
and she is much younger than Lloyd, correct? She is.
We think she's much younger than Lloyd. The parents and the owners have not contacted me. I mean, they did contact me, and then when I tried to arrange a pickup, they did not show up. So, we're considering her mine, and, but some cat whisperer online told me that she's actually more dominant than he is, and he's, like, scared of her.
Really? How do they tell that from just because Lloyd is the one that's doing mannerisms and she's just chilling?
Yeah. Oh, I'm going to read you what she said. She has a degree in animal behavior.
Wow.
Which is fucking cool.
Charles is fucking on it today.
I know, Charles is... Whoa, Charles. Okay, she says, not sure... This is great information for anybody that has cats. I did not know this. Not sure if you know, but cats have a 4D territory. The obvious 3D that they live in, but also time and height is a huge safety blanket for them, and a dominance display. If she was up on the ledge that she was on first, she's saying to Lloyd, I can be up here and no threat. Look, I'm hunched up and not in the way, like, but I'm not going to bully you, you know? Or no, I'm not going to be bullied. And her ears say, I'm listening, but I'm not looking to threaten you. The fact he jumped up on the couch and says, this is still my territory. But then when he approaches on the couch and she was higher, oh no, sorry, they were both on the same ledge at that point. And then he approached on the couch and she was higher and he got down and he says, I'm not willing to fight for this territory. He is willing to share. He's just not 100% ready. That's what she said. I'm like, what the fuck? You're a cat whisperer. And then she says, yep, he looks quite comfy. She is more standoffish, I think. I predict she will be the boss once they settle down. I meant to say, watch the time of day when they are in a certain spots, and you'll see they have a pattern to their territory. Whilst the rug, the safety rug that I have that Lloyd loves, and also she loves too, might be Lloyd's now. Soon it might be Bab's between certain hours, and the windowsill might be his or hers depending on the time.
Jeez.
Isn't that crazy?
The ear thing is interesting because I noticed that, like, Lloyd's were forward, you could see his ears, he could hear forward, and then when my cats get, like, defensive and stuff, their ears go backward.
Right.
And,
yeah,
like,
and that's
the air canals are facing backward, so it's like...
Yeah, that's the thing that's been weird about this whole thing, and everybody's like, he's gonna attack her and stuff, and I was like... Yeah, and I'm like, no, Lloyd's not aggressive. He has no idea why he's hissing at this fucking cat. Like, he's not an aggressive cat. He, he can get territorial, but as far as, like, fighting and stuff goes, that doesn't usually happen all that much. And so, the first time that his ears went back even a little was when he was on the couch, and he, like, jumped up to see her.
Mm-hmm.
And then they almost touched noses.
Whoa.
It was a great moment.
That's fun to hear. I think that would be fun for her to just talk about that on her Instagram. Like, here's a video of a cat doing something, and here's what's going on in this video. Here's what
that's
you
so
can break
crazy.
it down.
Like, yeah, it's so cool.
They would get tons of followers if they shared that.
I know, right? Do a TikTok, sweetie Dahlia, darling. Sweetie darling. I see. Sweetie darling. Anyway, do a TikTok. But yeah, I'm so glad she messaged me because I didn't even know that was a thing. But I mean, it looks like I've been approaching the situation correctly, so.
Nice. Yeah, slow and steady, it looks like.
Yeah.
And you're not like getting in between them too.
I would never. Like, if he started duking it out with her, I'd probably just kind of like settle down, see how they did it, and then if he kept on going at her, I'd probably lock her in a room. Yeah. So, cool. Okay, that's enough about us. We're
gonna do listener questions.
What's the listener questions?
All right, numero uno. Some of my fellow potters fire at cone 10 in electric kiln, and my mind was blown. What damage are they causing to their kilns? I know it's possible, but at what cost? That is from Mudhead's Pottery on Instagram. So what do you got to say about the electric kilns firing to cone 10?
What do you think?
I mean, I think as long as the kiln... Are there kilns that are rated above cone 10? Probably not, right? Probably electric kilns? Yeah. So, I mean, we've talked about it before. It's kind of like if your kiln can, or if your car can go to 150, you're pushing it to like 140 or
Yeah.
145. You know, you're just using it to its full capacity. I mean, it's rated to do that. So I would put it out there that you're probably going to wear your elements out faster because you're using all the power on them on a regular basis. But,
Yeah.
I mean, the results are a little bit different. You're fully vitrifying your clay. You have different colors you can achieve. I mean, I feel like these days people are doing a lot more mid-range. I don't know if it's just for cost effectiveness. You're using less power. It takes less time. Your turnaround
I would
time is
think
a lot
so.
quicker.
Yeah.
And a lot of colors can be adapted from cone 10 to cone 6. So I think
Yeah.
it's just I don't know. Do you have a tendency to know like what types of people fire a cone 10, or like is it just long-term potters that have been doing it for a long time?
No, I think that people do it for specific reasons. I know that, I mean, there's no question that cone 10 pottery is more durable than cone 6 pottery. Like, maybe just a little bit, you know? Typically, it vitrifies at a higher, like, or a lower percentage, I suppose. But, yeah, a lot of it has to do with, like, the glazes and stuff. I know Forest Ceramic Company fires to cone 8. And that's because of their clay. They want to vitrify it at a certain rate, and he did a ton of, like, I believe he did a ton of testing and stuff to that. Yeah, I mean, I think you're right. I mean, it's not really hurting the kiln by any means. There's no damage to the kilns. It's just wearing those elements down faster. So it's like, instead of changing out your elements every 100 firings, maybe you're changing it out every 75, you know? So that's what I would probably say.
Yeah, it's probably similar to if you get a kiln that's a cone 6 kiln and you're firing to cone 6. You know, if you have a cone 10 kiln, it's going to be a little bit nicer on your elements and you're going to get a little more life out of it. So that's
Yeah.
why you've recommended in the past, like, even you said you had a cone 8 kiln, right?
Yeah, I had a cone 8.
And that was like better for cone 6 than a cone 6 kiln, but not quite as good as a cone 10 kiln.
Yeah, I
Did
mean,
you
like,
did
cone
you
8,
find yourself pushing it, or
cone 8 kilns should really just be for low fire. You can do cone 6 in a cone 8 kiln, but it's gonna push it farther than it wants to be. So like, I would primarily bisque in that kiln.
yeah,
That was like my bisque kiln, and then my 2 other kilns were my glaze kilns. I mean, yes, sometimes I'd glaze in that kiln, but very rarely, unless it was like necessary. So, but yeah, the cone 8 should be for low fire typically. If you're looking for a cone 6, if you're gonna fire cone 6, you should be getting a cone 10 kiln, no questions.
yeah. And I think of it kind of like the elements that are going in a cone 10 kiln and you're firing a cone 6. It feels like you have like heavier duty elements than you need.
Yeah,
So you just got like the super duty version
yeah,
of the elements that are just going to withstand a long
yeah.
period
And
of time.
if you are firing cone 10 in a cone 10 kiln, definitely don't be firing that motherfucker fast. You need to be firing it low and slow. So,
Or
because
medium?
no,
No?
slow. Slow.
Okay.
Like, if you were firing a cone 10 kiln to a cone 10, you need to be firing it slow. Because those elements, if you push those to their, like, max, at the max speed that you can go, that
You're
is
just like
killing
abusing
yourself.
it.
Yeah, you're just wasting a bunch of fucking time and money.
Well, you're trying to get quicker turnaround, but you're costing yourself time by wearing them down quicker.
Right. Yeah. So, yeah, but that's what I would recommend. I mean, you should be firing your kiln at slow regardless.
I
Right.
always fire fast.
Rebecca always fires fast too, and it's like, I'm like, no.
Maybe I'll try medium. I don't know.
You should try medium.
I mean, I just get used to the times of fast. Like, I think my kiln fired in like I can't. I don't want to say it because I can't remember exactly. But I want to say it was like 6 hours or something. In my smaller Olympic kiln yesterday. Fast.
It's too fast. It's too fast.
That's what happened.
That's what happened.
Cone 5-minute hold, I think is what I did. I need to do it a little bit longer of a hold, but yeah. Actually, I'm trying to remember the Bartlett. Does the Bartlett have a medium? I'm trying to remember if it does.
Oh no,
I think
it doesn't.
I think it has slow glaze, fast glaze, or slow bisque, fast bisque, slow glaze, fast glaze. It doesn't have a medium, but Scuts
have a medium.
Correct.
Scuts do have a medium.
Maybe that's why, because I've never programmed a custom thing, and it's just easy to push the button and do it. But
yeah, do you know what's really nice is that the Genesis, like the brand, the fancy one, has a slow medium.
Slow medium? Yes. So like it goes slow at the beginning and then ramps up once it gets to a certain point?
I think so, yeah. It's so nice when you're just like, I don't want to go slow. I don't want to go medium. I'd like to go slow medium.
I'd like to go schmedium.
I'd like to go schmedium. Sledium. Yeah, no, that's super nice.
Yeah.
I really
That's
want
my
cake.
Laziness. You want cake?
Yeah, since 6 o'clock I've wanted a piece of cake.
I got this, we had that show on the 7th or whatever, the day we got back, or the day after we got back. I got some carrot cake from the guy next to us. We always get the summer squash crust pizza from him, so we got some of those in our freezer, and then he had some carrot cake, so I got a little tin of carrot cake.
Oh, I love carrot cake.
I do too. It was good. I mean, I probably took a week to eat it because I ate like a little bit at a time, but
Deidre, that's a hint.
So good.
I
love carrot cake too.
Next time we come, Deidre, carrot cake. Carrot cake.
I'm like cheesecake and then carrot cake just below that.
I am rainbow chip, then carrot cake.
Rainbow chip. Is that like funfetti?
It is like funfetti, but rainbow chip is like different frosting.
Rainbow chip. Oh, is that where there's chips in the frosting itself?
Yes.
Okay. It's not like chocolate chips, right? It's like sweet.
No, they're like
balls
waxy, weird chips. Yeah.
Oh, okay. I kind of remember that.
I think they discontinued the frosting, but I think they brought it back.
Okay. It makes me think of like Dunkaroos with the...
Yes, it's the same frosting. I was just going to say
gosh,
that. I fucking
so good.
love Dunkaroos. Have you found them at Kroger? They're there.
Are they? I don't go to Kroger. Rachel's gone to Kroger and shops for us for the last
tell Rachel
year
to
plus.
get you guys Dunkaroos.
I mean, I heard Dunkaroos going to come back, but they were in like Walmart and they were only the chocolate ones or something. I don't know.
No, they have the rainbow chip ones at Kroger and 7-Eleven.
All right, we don't have 7-Eleven here, but Kroger, make it happen.
I saw them.
Adding that to the list. Okay.
Yeah, anyway. Moving.
Do you want to read the second question?
Yeah. This is our short commercial break for Dunkaroos. Okay, the second question is, how do you clean shelves of crumbling, in quotations, applied too thick? Kiln wash. Heavy grit sandpaper? Question mark? No.
If you want to take all day. That's from Bats Ceramics.
Bats Ceramics, yes. No, ideally, have you ever cleaned a kiln shelf?
Yeah, angle grinder.
There you go.
Angle grinder. You can get an angle grinder if you have Harbor Freight nearby. You can get an angle grinder for like $12, I think.
Yeah.
Maybe $15. The disc itself is going to cost more, but if you're just if you just have the kiln wash, you can actually get that off with probably the stock thing that comes on it.
Yeah.
Just the cheap sandpaper one. The discs are probably like $5 to $10, right?
I think so. Yeah, wear your mask.
Yes, wear your respirator and do it outside because it's going to make a hell of a mess. There's going to be a bunch of dust everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
And, yeah, angle grinder, pretty quick and easy. It's not... Actually, I think some of them are two-handed where you got like a handle and then you've got the part where you actually grab it and turn it on.
Yeah.
But, yeah, quick grind. I will actually put a link to the Sue McLeod kiln wash recipe that I use. It actually has helped because I've had issues where you put the kiln wash on. Historically had kiln wash. You put it on and it shrinks too much and then it just flakes off a bunch.
Mm-hmm.
And you just hope not to turn those shelves upright because the shit's going to flake everywhere and fall off. She uses some of the calcined EPK, which is just... EPK is just clay, right? Egger, plaster, kaolin. It's just clay. And then because it's calcined, which means you just put it through a bisque kiln and you just take all the moisture out of it. So you could just fire it in a bowl and then just put it through a bisque, take it out, and that becomes calcined. And that's like a portion of the recipe. And I think there's another name for it. I think G200 is the other name for it if you just buy it already packaged. But that helps because it's already shrunk. All the moisture's out of that, and that's a portion of what you put in there, which becomes the kiln wash, and it should shrink less. I mean, how do you apply yours? Do you do like a brush on, or do you roll it on, or how do you do yours?
I've never rolled it on, but that sounds like a good idea. I've never done the calcined EPK recipe. I think mine was like half EPK, half Gersley. No, not Gersley. That was not right. Half EPK and half alumina, maybe? I'm not sure. Don't quote me on that.
I'm pulling mine up.
I'm not sure. But I know that it's a 50-50 mix, and I just water it down. The problem with me is that I feel like I'm a bad example because I don't have glazes that run, and I'm really responsible with my glazing. So I do, like, literally when I get a kiln shelf, I brush on kiln wash once. And that's it. So I'm not sure following my lead is a great example.
Yeah, the Sue McLeod recipe is... Kiln wash recipe is 2 scoop aluminum hydrate, which is just what I use to make sure my underglaze stuff doesn't stick to the shelf. So 2 scoops of that, 1 scoop EPK, 1 scoop calcined EPK, which is what I just talked about, and then 1 scoop silica.
Oh. I think that you could probably just... I think that mine's just half EPK and half silica, or half alumina. And it's worked great, but like I said, I'm not a good example because I am kind of a picky bitch when it comes to that sort of stuff. And I don't...
Because once it starts flaking off and you try to, like, reapply, you always got thick spots and thin spots. It's best to just, like, clean it all off and then reapply.
Yeah. Like, I've never cleaned a kiln shelf. I've never had to clean a kiln shelf with an angle grinder because I'm that kind of glazer. So.
Yeah. Or, some people probably get used shelves from the person they get their kiln from, and they look like shit.
Yeah, for sure.
But, I mean, shelves are honestly not that expensive that if a shelf was caked in glazed bits and stuff everywhere, that even if you grinded it, it wouldn't really be that flat because there's so many intricacy. Like you can buy a kiln shelf for like $35.
Yeah, I would say absolutely.
Cheaper.
I was gonna say that the reason that I use kiln wash, that I even apply kiln wash, for the first layer is just so that the porcelain doesn't stick to the shelves. That's the only reason.
So you're putting like a thin layer. You're not putting like 3 and 4 coats of.
No, I put the thinnest layer possible.
The thinnest layer, okay. Because you're not having glaze run onto it and then picking up kiln wash. You're just you have the most minimal amount. Okay.
Yeah.
See, I put
even when I had glazes that ran
3 thin coats.
Yeah, even when I had glazes that ran, it was like barely even a little bit. And like if I had student pieces, I made them put them on cookies because screw that. I'm not. So.
Yeah, I have like a mini paint roller that's like 6 inches wide.
That's a good idea.
I just keep in the bucket. We did that in college. We had like a full size paint roller, and we would do that with like the wood kiln shelves and the gas kiln shelves. You just keep a bucket with kiln wash in it and just like keep it in there and just mix it up with the roller,
The paint roller, yeah.
and then just roll it on there like nice and thick. And we had students using the angle grinder. That's how I learned to use the angle grinder, was in college, where you had to clean off the wood kiln shelves and shit.
Yeah, for sure. I think that's a great idea. I've also kiln washed cookies.
There you go.
Yeah, definitely.
I'm sure you could probably just get the kiln wash to a state where you can just dunk the cookie or like.
That is exactly how I did it.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah. Because painting this, just like I don't want to paint glaze on, like just dunk the thing.
Yep.
Yeah. All right. There you go. Kiln shelf maintenance. Which reminds me, I probably need to apply some new kiln wash on mine. All right.
Well,
What?
I forgot like the most exciting news.
What's that?
I got my kiln.
You did. I saw the picture. It said one more was coming. I hope that wasn't yours.
No, that's not mine.
Okay.
There's a kiln that's lost. We don't know where it is.
Oh, no.
No, they delivered all the kilns to Rebecca's studio. They were supposed to deliver it to mine, but that's okay. And
They're supposed to deliver all of them to yours?
No,
or
they're
just
supposed to
that one?
deliver mine to mine, but they
Just
didn't.
the one.
So anyway, a large box is at Rebecca's, and it won't get moved for a while, but we have it. It is
in your possession.
It is in the possession of us.
That's
So,
great.
Very exciting.
I saw the pictures on Chris's, I think, and
Yeah.
Rebecca shared it, and I was like, I bet Becca is ecstatic. But I don't know why you didn't share it on Instagram yet, but maybe
I did.
You just, oh, you
I
did?
shared it in a story.
Okay, maybe you just reshared his.
Yeah, I
thing or
just
something.
reshared it. Yeah.
And then we'll
Okay.
see that photo when it's all set up and you're ready to go. That'll be nice.
Oh, I'm so excited. And like I just talked to my landlord about the studio space, and he would really love me to stay in the large space. So we're going to see if that'll make it work. Because the space that I'm in, that me and Dusty have been in, Dusty's leaving. The space that me and Dusty have been in is $900 a month. So we split it, so it's $450 a month, which I can handle. I don't love it, but I can handle it. And but it's literally made for kilns. Like, it has fire stuff, and the fire code and everything is all crazy, and it's got a space for event. And so he's like, I'd really love it if you stayed there, and he's willing to work with me, like, financially. But so I'm gonna try and find somebody that maybe wants to split it with me. But yeah, fun stuff.
Nice. Are you going to move your things closer to the window? Do you like the window space?
Fuck yes.
Okay.
I was so sad. Honestly, I was so sad when I like came in and I was like, I don't even get like to be by the window at all. Like, we can't split it the other way, like long way. Can't I half be at the window and him half be at the window? But that's okay. I'm excited to be by the window.
Yeah. It's something simple, but it's like, hey, it's nice to get some sunlight.
Yeah, and there's like a nice. Yeah, I'm excited. So.
Sweet.
He was like, well, you have a big ass studio for the rest of the year, so that's exciting.
Yeah, that thing is very massive. And that room is perfect for kilns, honestly, because I remember visiting and I'm like, they like spray foamed this room with.
Yep.
Yeah, I think it's
over
duty or overhaul.
It is, but the way RJ, he goes, I do everything in my power to make it as safe as humanly possible because they will fucking find something.
I bet.
He's like, I just go above and over and top or whatever, above and
beyond.
Above and beyond.
To infinity and beyond.
To infinity and beyond. Charles. Jeez.
Yeah.
God. So needy. He's like fucking Lloyd.
All right. What are we talking about today?
Oh, do you want to say it or do you want me to? You want to say it?
You can say it.
Okay, so we thought that it might be fun to revisit our very first episode. We have not listened to it. You haven't listened to it in a long time, right?
No, it's been quite a while.
Quite a while. I have never listened to it. And...
Never?
No, I've never listened to almost any of the episodes that we have.
Oh my gosh. The most you've listened was probably editing for the best of, and that's it.
The only one... You know what's funny is the only one that I've really listened to a lot is the one that we did with Dante and Lindsay, because I was making my bed at the time and like moving things around in my room, and so I was like, I have time.
Oh, that's funny.
So anyway, so it's called Motivation as a Maker, and Ryan's going to read the short caption we have. So neither of us have listened, so we thought it'd be fun to
talk about it now.
Now,
since we're basically 2 years since we first recorded or first released it.
Yeah.
And this is our first episode after the last episode we released, which was 2 years of Wheel Talk. So it'd be kind of fun to like see what we talk about, see what's different, see what's the same. And
it should release literally on the date 2 years later.
I think it'll be one day earlier, but you get the idea.
Yeah, you're right. It'll be on the 21st, not the 22nd. But yeah, so that's what we thought we would talk about. Okay, read what we wrote.
All right, Motivation as a Maker. This is our highest listened episode as well.
Yeah.
We've had the most, I guess people listen to it chronologically. They just get in there and start listening. On this episode, Ryan and Becca discuss motivation as a maker. Becca speaks on her perspective as a full-time potter and studio owner, and Ryan as a part-time maker while he works a typical 9 to 5 during the day. Each maker, artist, craftsperson, small business owner gets motivated by different things, and we share some of our experiences related to overcommitting, list making, goal setting, selling at shows, and why you should focus your time on what you love doing. Thanks for joining us on our first episode, and we would love to hear your feedback to help us improve.
Ooh, fun.
All right. So where do we start? I've actually got chapter. If you look back as far as the first episode, like I was putting markers in here with chapters of what we talked about.
God, can you imagine doing that now?
No, it's too much work.
Well, let's talk about let's talk about what our general motivation level is. Like, how motivated are you as a human being?
If I have the right reward system, I would say.
Okay.
And then I'm pretty motivated. If it's, I don't know, it depends on the task. Like, if it's something that's going to put me in like a positive, man.
Four times. Okay, sorry.
I mean, I think it has to either like feel good to do it, like am I helping somebody out, or am I doing it because like it's going to be good for me in the long term. I mean, this probably sounds like it's very methodical, but it's just like, hey, am I going to be happy doing this, or am I not?
Right.
Is it moving me in a positive direction? Especially now, I have so many balls in the air that I have to focus and deprioritize things that aren't important, and like be able to vocalize that and say like, hey, this is what I'm focusing on, and this is what I want to spend my time doing. I feel like I'm very good at breaking down like time estimates and like how much time is this actually going to take me, what is going to come up along the way that is unknown that could set me back longer. And if there's too many unknowns, then I'm very willing to just like not do it if I'm like, no, I don't really need to do that right now. But I would say I'm generally pretty motivated to get a lot done, like, and I feel guilty if I'm not doing something that's productive.
Do you think that your motivation has like gone up or down in the last couple years? Specifically towards clay.
I think it's gone up because I see the potential I see the demand there, where I know that I can, when I'm confident, when I put my time and efforts to making certain forms, or I'm confident it can sell. So I'm more motivated because I like the sell, and I like the continuation of the making, enjoying the making, and then the getting it to the end goal, and like delivering a wholesale order or getting a sale that is at a show, and like making sure I have enough stock so that I can put myself in a good position to sell a lot of shit. Yeah. And then I come back home and I do it all over again, and I try to plan out my time appropriately.
Yeah. Well, and that also, I would imagine the goal of becoming full-time for you.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I have to have the data to back that up. I'm not a whim person that does things without foresight and a lot of planning and having data to back up what I'm going to do. And
Yeah.
I want to have that backlog and that past of being able to be confident in what I'm doing and having the sales to back it up, that I can do it and not just have like, okay, I'm set for the next 3 months. I have like $10,000 in my ceramics account that'll help get me through this period of time. I don't know how long it's going to last, but like that's what I got. I'm not gonna do that.
You're not gonna leave it up to chance.
Yes. I'm not like I'll figure it out.
He's not like Becca.
I got some tools in my kit that I can say if I need to figure something out, I can do some things to make some money because I feel like I'm good at making money.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to do it with a lot of unknowns.
Yeah. I agree.
You agree that that's how I am? Is that what you're saying?
That is exactly how you are.
Yes.
Yeah.
What about you motivation-wise? I'm sure it's shifted.
It has shifted. I feel like, what was the first question I asked? Like, how do you...
What is your motivation like? How motivated are you as a person? I don't know if that was framed at just in general or if that was specifically to Clay in that.
I feel like
first
probably
part,
in general. In general, I feel like I'm motivated towards, I am motivated when there are other people involved. So if there's a second party, regardless, I will probably be motivated. Like, it's interesting, especially now, looking at how I work when I'm on hourly versus how I work when I am paid by the piece. I work so much more efficiently and aggressively when I'm paid hourly as opposed to being paid by the piece. Even though I make significantly less when I'm paid hourly. Because I feel...
So you're getting less for your money.
I'm getting less for my money, but I feel a responsibility to Rebecca to make her money worth it.
I gotcha.
So there's, like, I love Tuesdays. Like, it feels like nothing to me to go in and just to work, hourly and to trim. Is that Tuesdays are the day that I go in and trim for an hourly rate, and then every other day I do piece rate. But when it's just me, I'm like, I have time. I don't have a life. Where am I gonna go? Like, where am I gonna go?
Do you feel like you're generally more the work that you put in for Rebecca is she's getting more bang for her buck when you do tasks versus some other people?
Oh, versus other people? Maybe. Mostly because I'm so well versed in most of the tasks. Hi, Marble. I'm really well versed in the, trimming. Like, there was no training time. There was no, nobody has to tell me how to do something, you know? So that's the only advantage I would say. I would say that Allie is 10 out of 10 better than me trimming. Because that's literally what she does every single day. And if she is motivated, she knocks it out of the park, I am just as fast as her on a good day, but yeah, definitely. But personally, motivation-wise, I have very little now.
So on 1 to 10,
I'm at a 4. So
on a daily basis, does it fluctuate throughout the week?
I feel like it definitely fluctuates, but it's like I've had fucking dishes sitting in my sink for 3 days, and finally today I came in and I was like, okay, I've got to fucking do this. It's driving me crazy,
Mm-hmm.
So, but I find that if I keep my tasks at a level 9, then I don't have to have a ton of motivation to get them finished, Like if I keep my apartment generally clean, then I don't have to clean it
right
as much, you know? So that's kind of how I approach that. But yeah, my motivation is pretty much shot. As far as clay, right now, my motivation with clay and in the past 2 years, like previously, I think that my motivation was so high. It wasn't even that I was motivated. I wasn't. You would probably agree with that, huh? Like,
you weren't motivated. You were. I mean, were you just like staying afloat kind of thing? Like you were just keeping up with the tasks that you needed to do.
Yeah,
but you weren't pushing any one thing or any specific.
I probably was motivated in 2014, and then once, like, every year since that, I've gotten, like, a little less. But, like, do you remember how many times you've been like, hey, do you want to do a live video? Because you knew that I was doing jack shit, you know?
Well, and I knew you kind of appreciated the little push as well.
I do, and yeah, I definitely need, like I said, I need a second person. I need another person, and that's why I put things on Instagram saying, like, this is my list for the day. And, you know, like
be accountable.
I have to have accountability buddy. And if I don't, then I'm just like, well, I don't know. And, you know, when you have to, Larry Bruning always said, when you have to pay your rent, you start making pots, you know? When there's something, if you have kids and you have to put food on the table, you're going to figure out how to make money.
When you need money, find money.
When you need money, find money. And so, yeah, I think that that's kind of like my general thought towards it. But I feel however, now that I've been all this like negative person, I feel that it's growing. You know, I moved here. My motivation went to absolute zero. And then I'm like slowly climbing up. I do feel I also have to have a goal, like you know. Like I kind of want to do this.
A distant goal or a medium range goal, or
medium range is fine, or even a short range goal. Like I kind of want to ride this shitty pots situation out and see like how it goes. Even though Ryan hates the word. I'm going to make it
I feel like you're downplaying it, but
I'm going to
because customers don't understand shitty. They're like, what do you mean shitty? I don't know.
I'm going to make it a brand. You
go for it.
Okay? I'm going to make it a brand. And it's going to be about comedy. It's fucking funny, Ryan.
It is funny. I'm just saying some customers won't get it, but maybe they're not your customers. I just think you're walling yourself off to certain customers that could be making you money because they see shitty cups and they don't understand it.
They don't understand. That's okay. Anyway, moving on. But with this whole, like, that idea, I'm like, oh, maybe, like, having some idea of, like, if I want to sell in the future, or, like, becoming a millionaire by the time that I'm 40, or now I've changed it to 45. And, but, like, that gives me, like, motivation to kind of, like, get things done. So, because I need to make $3,000 every month if I want to be a millionaire by the time I'm 45.
You need to make that and, like, that's
invest
on
it.
Top of invest that much. Okay.
I need to invest $3,000 a month if I'm going to be a millionaire by the time I'm 45, just through stocks.
Wow.
It's a lot, isn't it?
That is a lot.
Yeah. I'll figure some way out too. I'll figure out some loophole.
So is your you're kind of talking about steady 4. Is it like, what is it when you're in Rebecca's studio and you're working for your day job? And then what is it in your own studio when you're working on your own stuff? Is it different there?
In my own studio, it's like a 2. And then in Rebecca's studio, it's like a 6. So we're averaging out.
Yeah. Well, I think that having the kiln at your own studio should start creeping that motivation up.
I agree that, like, I definitely, like, mentally shut it off just because I knew I didn't have a kiln.
I mean, I'm sure that happened with, like, COVID. People just canceled a bunch of shows. They couldn't do their shows, so their motivation just plummeted because they're like, what am I doing this for?
Yeah. Oh, I have a question. Okay, so I saw today, I don't know who it was. It was just a passing thing. And it was somebody who was making a piece a day to gain back their motivation. And I initially was like, that ain't gonna do it. Like, to me,
just make a piece for themselves. Is that what they meant?
Or just like make one piece
make
of
a
pottery
mug a
day.
day or...
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Just until they get their motivation back. And to me, that seems like it would have the like opposite reaction. What do you think about you? Like,
I feel like that would make it seem like I got homework every day.
Yeah.
But I think it has good intentions, that it's trying to get you in the studio every day, which
I agree.
Sparks motivation.
Yeah.
And sparks a direction and a North Star a little bit of, maybe your North Star is to just get into the studio.
Yeah.
I think that's where you got to start somewhere. So that's what I think the intention of one a day is. It's not like, all right, I got a task, I got a reminder every single day on my calendar that says get into the studio and make one pot, and it feels like homework. But yeah, that's what I think.
Yeah,
it is.
That's true. I could see that. Oh, I also think that for me, the space that I work in has to be right. I feel, and I would imagine for you too, I feel very lucky that I found this studio in Indianapolis, or Dusty found it. I didn't even find it. And there's so many artists, and they, like, you know, when you walk in, they're sitting outside and they're smoking and they're talking, and like we have talks about dreams and art and business and stuff. And like that really helps, you know,
helps you get going and feeling like, okay, I'm going into the studio with some curiosity and
creativity,
to get me going.
And like I definitely think that the community that you have is a driving force within motivation, whether that be Instagram or not. Like, you have a ton of people in your Instagram community.
Yeah, I think seeing other people on Instagram probably helps a little bit with motivation. I mean, I do see it a little bit as distraction. Like, I could spend less time looking at some of that, because I find myself grabbing my phone like it's can't remember what, it's your little drug, you know. You just kind of grab for it when you got a few seconds and you're like, you know, I don't know what, and then you just grab for it, you know.
We should have like a blackout week.
A whole week
of no Instagram.
You know what? I would feel like those people that say, I'm so sorry that I've been silent here.
Or
I'm
like
really slacking on my Instagram these days. And I'm like, nobody fucking noticed.
Nobody cares. But it is good personally to do that, you know?
Yeah.
Just to like have a cleanse. Or a fast, I suppose. What was I going to say? Oh, it's like how people are always like, it's been a while since I've introduced myself.
Allow me to introduce myself. I don't know.
That's like, remember that one post that I did? I was like, it's been a while since I've introduced myself. I'm just kidding. I'm not fucking doing that.
You said fuck that. Yeah.
Fuck that.
I was trying to think of a post to do that says, I will never... and then finish it out with a bunch of shit that people do commonly, like that. With like, it's been a while since I've introduced myself. Sorry, I've been slacking on my Instagram, whatever. Like, a number of things that people do. Doing a giveaway.
Give me your opinion on this. Yeah. Give me your opinion on this. This or this.
I mean, I do this or that sometimes.
You do.
To spark some
I
engagement.
mean, we all do.
I think it's fun to just have a couple pieces. Plus, you get a lot of, like... It's pretty even a lot of times, but...
What else is another one?
Oh, man, I made a list on my phone.
Oh, man. We're getting off topic, but I feel like this is fun. This is a fun off topic.
Oh, I will never post heavily filtered or edited posts.
Oh, yes.
I don't do that. Yeah, the new faces around me. Let me introduce myself. Those Meet the Maker or 30 plates in 30 days. Like, I'm never doing that.
Fuck that shit.
I'm never going to do that personally. Not against anybody that does those. Not against anybody that does these things. It's just things that I see commonly done. I know it's probably just a sense of like doing it to get in the studio and kind of like what we talked about, but
Yeah.
I'm not gonna
No,
do that.
I think the 30 plates in 30 days, if you can do it, you should. I couldn't do it. I like, fuck that. I can't do that. That's like way too much. That's way too much dedication.
Doing stories and then covering it up with like a sticker or something so you can't see the meat of it. I'm like, fuck that. Nobody's tapping that. I'm not going to tap that. I know what you're fucking doing. I'm not tapping it.
I'm not tapping it. Like, click on my post to see this new house.
Or whatever. It's like, come on. I know what you're fucking doing.
You're cussing a lot in this episode, and I really love it. He's gonna stop now.
Reposting stuff that I'm not genuinely interested in.
Yeah.
That would be like if somebody asked me to repost something. Like, I'm not really going to do that unless I'm actually interested in it. I'm never going to edit long form videos down. I'm not going to cut up and splice and edit. Nope. Reposting personal TikTok videos as Instagram posts or reels. I'm not going to do that. I don't even use TikTok.
I'll do that.
But no thanks.
Reposting videos?
Yeah. And I generally don't speak in absolutes, so that's another thing. That's not really things a lot of people say, but I mean, you could say some people do. Well,
you saying I'm never going to is an absolute, so that's
I know, that's why I said in parentheses, although this post seems like a contradiction, doesn't it? I said almost never.
Almost never.
So, that's pretty much the gist of it, but yeah, I don't know. I feel like if I posted that, it would piss some people off and they would get defensive, and some people don't get where I'm coming from, but whatever.
I do what I want.
All right, so back to motivation. Do you have any issues with overcommitting or figuring out what you're willing to commit to, whether it's customer-wise or work-wise, or just, what's in your wheelhouse and what's not?
Oh, remind me that we should talk about motivation with commissions, because that's like a thing. No, I don't think I have an issue with overcommitment. I haven't like, there's a few times that I've had to be like, you know what, I can't do this. And that's just because I said yes because I was being nice and I didn't want to do it.
Yeah. But yeah, I feel like you're very comfortable with saying, you know what, I just can't do that. Or
yeah, I am.
You're saying like no to a point, but it seems like you are very quick to say no if you really feel in your gut that you don't want to do it.
Yeah.
Or that you're on the fence about it. You're like, well, maybe I could do that, but I don't see you saying that.
No. Yeah, somebody told me a long, long time ago, saying no once a day keeps the psychiatrist away. So
that's a good way to keep your plate manageable too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I'm definitely a person to say, you know what, let me make some samples, or I'll say something like that. So I mean, there was just one situation through Etsy or something that we were talking about on our trip about like, hey, this thing came through and I was thinking about it, and I ended up saying like, what would be involved in making this new thing that is basically a combination of shot glasses that I make to make like a measuring, it's actually called a jigger, which I didn't know that was what it was called.
Yeah, and me and Ryan were like, we thought it, what did you think it was?
Well, there's a thing in mold things and ceramics that I think a jigger is where you have the thing on the
jigger,
arm.
But is it a digger or a jigger?
I thought it was a jigger.
No, like that's a jigger. Yeah. When you do the pots, that's a jigger. Is the thing that you were talking about? The
measuring cup, it's the same thing. It's called
a jigger. Yeah, because we're all like, okay, me, Ryan, and Rachel are all sitting in our, like, they have one bed, I have one bed, and we're like talking before we go to sleep. And Ryan's like, they want me to make a jigger. And me and Ryan are like, what the fuck? And Rachel's like, that wouldn't be too hard. And we're like, what are you talking about?
we're in the ceramics world of like what a jigger is, and I'm like, I'm not like a studio that makes molds and shit. Like, what do you expect me to make? But they're talking about it's basically like a measuring thing that a bartender would use with the the cone on the top that's for like half an ounce, and then the cone on the bottom for like
1 ounce.
1 ounce or 2 ounce or whatever. So
Yeah.
that's what they want. And I'm kind of on the fence about like with Becca, what do I charge? Should I commit to like saying I'll make some samples, or what should I do? And she's kind of like, say fuck it, like I'm not going to do that. And I was kind of like, what's involved? Like, how could I do it that's feasible, that would not kill me? So I ended up saying I would make some samples and get back to them. And I think a lot of that is just figuring out what kind of personality you're dealing with.
Yeah.
Are they going to be open to what you're making, or are they going to be nitpicky, or, are they going to be somebody good to work with that you're going to regret doing it at the end, or you're going to be like, okay, that wasn't too bad.
Yeah. Oh my God,
also,
a customer can fucking kill your motivation to do anything.
Yeah. So, I mean, there's some of those looming in the back of my head of, I kind of mentioned I was going to make samples of something, and it was going to be within a couple weeks, and I never did it, and I never contacted them back for like 4 months, and it's still in the back of my mind that I should at least say something to them and say, you know what, I know I said I was going to do this, but I couldn't do it. I can't commit to doing that. It's not going to be worth it for me. I'm sorry.
Do you know why I say no so many times? Is because, like, my neighbor back in, like, 2014 was like, will you make me a bowl? And it took me 1.5 years to make it for her. And, like, I think after that experience, I was like, you know what? I'm not going to say yes because I won't do it. Like,
what got you to eventually do it? Was it reminding from them? Did they remind you, or did they ask you, or, like, how did you finally do it? Or why did you do it?
I don't even know. I don't even know what got me to do it. I think that I was like, fuck, I got to do that. And what's so frustrating is that, like, especially when you have, like, custom orders and stuff, it's like, can you make me 4 plates? I'm like, okay, 4 plates takes me 10 minutes to make, but it's going to take me 15 years to get to making them in 10 minutes. Like, it's, like, I will wait 4 months before I sit down and say, okay, I'm going to make these. And it's so fucking easy once you do it. And you're just like, God,
it's because it's so it's so small in the gamut of all the things that you're doing.
Yes.
And it's like, I would much rather throw 20 mugs than to make 2 plates for somebody for a custom order. Because it's like,
Do you know what I do in the wintertime? Or I used to do in the wintertime. I probably do it this winter too. Is that on my, actually, I use a yellow notepad. Like one of those yellow old school flip over the top notepads.
Yeah.
And I write down every custom order, everything that I need to do, every wholesale order, everything in months that I have to get them done in. So like, January.
You have commitments that far in advance that you can do that?
Yes. I used to, yeah.
Or is it just based on historically, like you can expect that you're going to get a wholesale order from this company in March, June, and August or something?
No, so here's the thing. Okay, here's a few things about wholesale orders that I feel are necessary for everybody to know. And it's completely 150% okay for you to do this as a maker. When somebody says, can I have this? You say, what date would you like it by? And then you follow that up with, I need an actual date. You need to tell me a date that you want this by. And you write it down, and that's the date you need it by. Because after so many times where everybody says, take your time, it's fine.
Oh, take your time.
Take your fucking time.
Take your time.
Take your time is like, okay, so you never want it. Okay, cool. Like, I'm not gonna make it. It's great.
I mean, literally in the scheme of what we do in like a year's time, like, I don't know, it just falls so down on the priority list that it never gets high enough to be a focus in my mind.
So like, come September, I start getting these orders for Christmas and stuff like that, right? So I start writing it. I go September, October, November, December. And
they're reaching out to you. You're not getting ahead of the game and saying, hey, just so you know, it's going to be a busy fucking time. Let me know what you need and what day you need it by.
Yeah, some wholesale orders I do, but yes, potentially. And then, if they order the wholesale order in September, then it's due in October. And then and so I'll write everything that's due in that month, and I'll do those first. Like, that's the priority, like, this is what needs to be done. And I write every single fucking thing down on this list. and I literally go through and cross them off, and like just start at day one, and just cross them off and move down the list. And it's so satisfying, but it does help a lot because then you have it physically in front of you. It's tactile, so you can literally cross it off. And then once I start crossing weird random things off that happen to get done, I'll make a new list, reformulate it, and do all the like dates that it needs to be done in, and then just keep continuing to do that, and then just flip through.
I think that's a great task to, just as a basic level, to
I agree.
at least list out your commissions that you've done, because I started doing that this year in my budgeting, my income sheet and all that stuff. I actually started a line item as like, it's not a commission, it's not a consignment or a wholesale or a retail, it's a commission.
Yeah.
So that I can look back at my year and see like, what task did I do for commissions, and then I can review it and say, were these worth it, or which ones were worth it, which ones weren't. And hopefully that's going to get me a little bit more comfortable with, what did I make for this, and like, what should be in my wheelhouse of comfortability and what shouldn't, because I can only spend my time doing certain things, and I'm going to be more comfortable saying no because I know that I can make money elsewhere.
Yeah.
And be confident about it.
I also add, sometimes I add checklists on the left side too. 3 columns of checklists. Thrown, bisque, glazed. So that way I know kind of like where I'm at. But sometimes I also just kind of like put them in and then I move them down the list.
You could probably use like a Trello board or something like that if you wanted something digital, or you wanted something.
Yeah, Trello's great. Like
create items with the commission name, and you can move them across the columns closer to complete.
Yeah, Trello's great for that stuff. I personally just like to write it down. Mm-hmm. I like to write it down. So, and I'll do it on the iPad, but it's not as, honestly, it's just not as good.
Yeah, writing stuff down and crossing things off is definitely where it's at for me too, for the most part. Yeah, I try to find myself saying, I'm in the 4 to 6 week range normally. So if it's a commission, I'll say 4 to 6 weeks. And if it's right in the middle of summertime and all that, like, I'm comfortable saying it's going to be 5 to 7 weeks. I just shift that back a week and say, I'm going to get it to you by these dates. And then when I write it, I actually write mine on a whiteboard. Yeah. That's in my studio, and I can erase them as I get them. And the whiteboard shrinks a little bit as we deliver some things, and then I inevitably get another random wholesale order. Lately, it's been a lot of, I've actually done more like wholesale or just like bulk shot glass orders in this last year. A lot of them are coming from Etsy. Like, people reach out. One of them was for like bridal shower gifts for a wedding or something like that. One of them was that I'm working on now is for a church that wants them for like individual communion kind of sippers. One of them is for an actual shop that has wholesale.
Jeez,
something or another
for Jesus. That's like super fancy for Jesus.
Well, it's for their it's for they're doing individual servings because of COVID. They're not drinking out of a single chalice anymore.
We always did that. You can get those little tiny clear plastic.
Well, it
cups.
Depends on the. Yeah, they just don't want the clear plastic ones. They want like nice ones.
They want to be fancy. Did you hear that I mixed up the words? I think I'm dyslexic in my speaking.
Fancy cups?
I said Jeezy for Francis.
I thought you said fancy for Jesus.
I said Jeezy.
Oh, Jeezy. Young Jeezy. Got a soul survivor over here.
Oh, all right. Anyway, moving
that's
on.
A deep cut. All right. 2000s hip hop deep cut. And then there's another one for like somebody that sells ciders, like apple cider or something. Like, they call it fire cider. It's like a health thing. You take it in the morning, like drinking apple cider vinegar, I think. And so it's a lot of like wholesale orders that I just got to get on my list and then put the dates of when they're due and then just slowly work through them. And I'm getting more comfortable like putting things on the back burner or just not committing to individual wholesale or commissions that are like, can you make me this one piece or these two things that are just random that I physically could make, but do I want to make them and do I have the time to make them in a reasonable fashion? Like, I don't really want to do experimentation, honestly. So,
Right.
some things like this one woman asked for like a soup bowl, which is just my cereal bowl. She's like, I really like the cereal bowl, but can you put a handle on it? And I was like, yeah, I could do something like that. Here's the price.
Yeah.
And what was weird is you price that out, right? A cereal bowl is $24. And I'm like, you put a handle on it. This goes back to the whole pricing a bowl versus a mug thing. Because you use 1.5 pounds of clay and you put a handle on it. What is a reasonable price that you would put for a bowl with a handle on it that you think? It's $24 retail.
40.
Okay, I priced it $32 because I was just putting a handle on it. But it's like a mug costs $32. So like, what would legitimately make sense for me to price it at $40 when it's a bowl that's $24 with a handle on it? So I was like,
right,
yeah. So it's like I sell a mug that is 1 pound and a handle for $32, but this is a bowl that's 1.5 pounds and a handle, so it's way bigger. And it's like, why is it the same price? But that's weird. All right. I think that's probably a lot of overcommitting stuff. What about list making? We talked about list making a little bit. Anything else about goal setting? How are you setting your goals now?
I don't have any.
You don't have any? I mean, getting your kiln was probably a big goal, but you didn't really have control of that, so...
Yeah, I feel like I'll now start setting like goals and lists and start doing that stuff, you know. I really would like to get a schedule where I like, now that I'm going to start making more cups and stuff in my own studio, I would like to get to a point where it's like I'm there on Saturdays and I'm there on Sunday afternoons and I'm there on, during the week, I'm there right after work, and like being committed to being like, I'm going to be out of work at 6:00, and go over to the other studio. So I'd like to get to a point where I'm more consistent with my scheduling, which would be nice.
Does that help get you, because I'm guessing you're one that you need to go right to the studio and not go home first, because if you went home first, you would not leave.
I would never.
So is like food a motivating factor of like, okay, you last ate at 1:00. So if you get to the studio and then you got to be at your studio for a couple hours so that you can eat dinner at a reasonable time, is like that part of it too.
So like not really. I mean, like the problem with me is that I'll go to work and then if I go, oh man, I was trying to hide that one and I couldn't. If I go, by the way, all of those people that are like, she yawns too much, it's fucking 11:00, okay? It is 11 p.m. and I have worked 8 hours today and I've made 100 pots and shut up. Anyway,
so defensive.
I am defensive. So I am like hungry by that time and I don't plan ahead. So I need to definitely start planning ahead because I always like just stop by Taco Bell or like
gotta like pack a second lunch or a snack
dinner
or something.
Yeah, because unlike you, I eat dinner at a reasonable time.
Yeah,
you eat dinner at 9:00. I usually eat it at like
11
7
p.m. or midnight or
So, but I don't know. I mean, it's fucking tough, man. I feel like motivation obviously is so mental. And like if you're not in the right space mentally, if you have depression, if you have anxiety, if you have ADHD, like your mental capacity has so much to do with whether you want to do something or not. Like I've had moments where I'm like, I have so much to do. And I can't move.
You get overwhelmed of...
Yeah.
I do you ever... I get that sometimes after, like, shows or something. Or, like, after vacation, I kind of got that. When we got back home, and I was like, okay, I had this show. The show was fine. Like, the show was just... I was just coasting, I knew what I needed to do. Pack the car up, go to the show, sell, whatever. And then when I hit Sunday and Monday, I was like, shit, I got a bunch of stuff to do. Like, I got these shot glass wholesales I need to get done. And then I'm like, but a lot of them are greenware, so I got to, like, bisque fire. But what do I do in the meantime until I can fill up the kiln? So I'm like, should I be throwing something specific? Should I be glazing? Like, what should I be doing right now? I feel overwhelmed, but it's like, I don't know what to do. So I had a little bit of that. But I think getting in the studio is a first step for sure. Got to get in the studio and do something.
Yeah.
Does the there was something I was gonna ask about the, like, is the do you get with the related to like goal setting? Are you, once I'm to this part of the year, like, I feel like I lose sight of like what my goals were for the year, because I'm just so in the day to day of like, you got to keep up.
Yeah.
And like just focus on the week, that you don't really know that you're getting off track or that things are distracting you, or
it just like moves by so quickly.
Yeah. I feel like the weeks fly by now.
You know what's funny is that last year or 2 years ago when Boldly podcast started with Heidi, I remember listening right around August time and her saying, guys, it's August. Start working on Christmas. Like, on the podcast, she's like, start working on Christmas, guys. And so now I'm telling you right now, because I thought of it, I was like, please start working on Christmas. You know, I know it's August, but that's 8 out of 12.
Yeah.
We're in the last quarter.
Think of like what you sold the most of.
Yeah.
In Christmas time, and start making those things.
Yeah.
Or keep making those things so that you have enough stock. I'm like, okay, I got shows this weekend and I got some into October, and I'm like, all right, I got to make for those shows. And then by the time October hits, I'm going to be like, all right, start thinking about Christmas.
You know what I think? I think that I really want to do shows next year. I do. I do think that I really want to do shows.
Is that going to help with your motivation? Because you have a deadline?
Yeah, I do think that it will. And I think it'll be fun. We can apply to some of the same shows, and like, I'll sell shitty cups and you sell your stuff, and then you'll do better than me, and that'll be fine. And, but like, I think that that's like a cool, fun goal, you know, it'd be like, okay, I've been here a year, almost 8 months now I've been here, and time to like, the break's over, you know, like, get your shit together, get a kick-ass booth, like shelves, ceiling to floor.
Yeah. And I mean, I think you would excel in that atmosphere, because like, I know you said you don't like selling online, but like, you don't sell your stuff online. Like, your personality has to come out for people to like get why they want to get your stuff.
Yeah.
As well as just like feeling the pieces and stuff like that. Like, it's very tactile for your new stuff, and just some of your, you know, shitty cups or whatever, like the price tag's going to draw them in, and things like that. So like, that's going to sell. So I feel like the in-person shows are going to do good for you.
Yeah. I always feel like there's something that, like, every quarter there's something that like gets you going. It's like, okay, Christmas is this quarter. The next quarter it's like, you got to get ready for shows because they start in April. And then during show season, you're still working that whole time. So you have to like keep it up. And if you don't keep it up, you're fucked. So that's like the motivation. That's not even motivation. That's just like, fuck. I don't even know what it's called. It's just like, it's just like, you're just trying to keep afloat.
January through April is like, all right, we need to restock some shit because we're going to have to start selling a bunch.
Yeah, that's your motivation time. Everything else after that is just like trying not to drown. Like, really.
Like, stay afloat.
Yeah. Like, right now in Gravesco, this is actually our not busy time. You know? Of
actually getting things out the door, or like the number of pieces you're making?
Like the number of pieces and like how much is selling. Like, you know, like, I guess June, July, and August are like the slow months, you know? And then every other month is like, fuck! Like, you know? But it's totally opposite. from show season.
I think it helps that some of the people you interface with, whether it's wholesale or whatnot, like some of them personality-wise are planners and they're thinking ahead to Christmas time and they're like, okay, what do I want in the shop? So they're reaching out in August and saying like, hey, I want this. And they're thinking ahead. And then you got people that are procrastinators a little bit, or they realize they're running out and they need to restock. So I mean, I'm kind of in that a little bit with like consignment too. I have to stay on top of it of like thinking ahead, and that's why I keep inventory of everything I've delivered. And when stuff sells and I get a list of what's sold, I can log it and then look at that list and see like, all right, historically what has sold.
Yeah.
And what are they out of, so that I'm not thrown off guard when they say we need more stuff. I don't want them to have to come to me and say we need more stuff.
Yeah.
I want to be ahead of the game and be like, all right, I'm already planning to set them things aside as we go so that I can deliver some quality pieces to them.
Yeah.
And I'm not making them wait on me.
Sometimes I wish that you weren't such an exemplary, like, example.
What do you mean? Between the two of us?
Like, no, not between us. I mean, I know you're better at this part than I am, but, like, sometimes I'm like, when you talk about things, and I'm like, how does he already, like, how does he know that? Like, you do all the things that you should do, which is good. I guess that's why we do a podcast.
I wonder if it's because I just have to adjust and make it fit within my day-to-day, because maybe. I know that I am dedicated 8 hours a day to be working, and I know that I'm going to sleep 8 hours of that day, so I have, I don't even know what's the math, 16 hours? Is that what's left? No, 8 hours left. You have 8 hours left of the day to do what you want, and you're probably going to eat some of that time, you're going to shower some of that time, whatever. Like, you don't really have that much time in a day that's extra, so you have like 6 hours to do what you need to do.
Yeah.
Outside of your job and sleeping and all those things that you have to do.
You know what, that brings up a very good point as motivation full-time versus motivation part-time, you know? And, like, how it's different.
Is that because you're like, I have the entire day to get X number of things done, so I really have 16 hours to get this stuff done?
Yeah, like...
I think some things historically, if somebody says this thing is due on Friday, you're going to figure out a way to make it get done, and you're going to get it done by about Thursday afternoon. You'll get it close to Friday. Like, you'll figure out a way to span it to Friday. But if they said we need it Wednesday, you'll figure out a way to get it done by Wednesday.
Totally. I'm a procrastinator of the mostest. That's
why you're like, give me a date.
Yeah, no, seriously. That's why I have to tell people to give me a date. Because I won't start it until 2 weeks before. Especially if it's a big order. I don't start that shit before 2 weeks before. My turnaround time is a month, like it used to be a month. And I can't tell you anything that I started the month before it was due. Nothing. Yeah. Everything was started 2 weeks before.
Yeah. I think the stress for me comes when I can't control things. So I plan ahead, and I'm like, all right, let me know. The Christmas is coming up. Let me know ahead what you're going to need. Put this in your ear early. I know it's August, but let me know, because I'm going to be busy. I know I'm going to be busy. I don't know why this year would be any different than years past. And just how you say, like, we'll get back to normal here. I'll have tons of free time when we get back to normal. But, like, that never comes. That's like a carrot out there that you keep going toward. That's like, why do you think it's going to be any different 2 weeks from now?
That's the carrot cake.
Why are you going to be so less busy 2 weeks from now than you are right now? You're going to be in the same situation. So, when I get thrown curveballs and I'm like, hey, can you help me do this thing that's random? And I'm like, ugh, it's going to affect my schedule. That's why I kind of aggravate Rachel sometimes, where she's like, can you do this thing for me, or can you help with this? Usually I'm like, it's going to affect my schedule, but I mean, I can do it. I'm not going to like doing it. But so I think that's where it stresses me out, where it's like, you've got a finite amount of time and you've got to fit that into your schedule this week somehow, and something else is going to be sacrificed. Yeah. So
no, that's true.
Maybe that's part of what motivates me to like keep things moving, so that I don't pile up something. Yeah. That I'm like, okay, I need it done in 6 weeks, so let me just start it here in a couple weeks. Like,
I'd be curious to see. I'm actually. I've always thought this. I'm curious to see when you become full time, what that'll look like. If you'll relax a bit, or if you'll be like extra. Like,
will I just take more on my plate and say like, all right, you got this number of hours,
yes.
so let's do it to the max.
Yeah, or will you wake up at 12 and like saunter down to the studio and like
I'll probably wake up at like 10 at least, for sure.
For sure. See,
10,
that's where it
10:30.
starts. That's where it fucking starts. And then you're like, ooh, lunchtime, yawn. And then at like 1 o'clock, you're like, oh, an hour lunch is fine. And then you're like, I think I could watch a Netflix show for like maybe 10 minutes. And then you sit on your couch, and then you don't get up for like 4 hours.
4 hours.
Fuck! And then you actually still have a part-time pottery gig and no time, like you just do nothing during the day. It's like absolutely nothing.
I'm like, someone that is like, okay, I want to limit myself. I want to discipline myself. I'm going to choose a 30-minute episode because that is an end point for me.
Yeah.
I'm not going to do this next episode bullshit. I'm not going to let it autoplay. I'm going to be disciplined enough to be like, all right, I can eat my lunch in 30 minutes and call it a day.
Yeah.
Or I can listen to this podcast that's based on an hour, and it's going to play it 1.5 times, and it's going to finish in like 45 minutes.
Yeah.
But it's like, whatever. Like, I can get back to what I'm doing. But, yeah, we'll see what that shift is like.
For me, it was pretty intense.
A big shift.
Yeah, because I remember when I was full-time at Sherwin-Williams and at Amsbury's, and then part-time at doing pottery, and then I also worked at the pizza place for tips, and that's when I also bought my house. And it was like I was so fucking busy. I like never slept. I worked all the time. You know, I work 18 hours. I'd work 12 hours or 10 to 12 hours at Amsbury's, and then go home and work for 6 hours in the studio, and then go to sleep and do it all over again. And then the minute I was making so much shit. And then when I became full-time, I made the same amount of shit. Like, it was
So you made the same amount of stuff, you made the same amount of money, but you made less money because you weren't working for the other entities.
Yeah, probably, yeah. And I would just drive around Sultan and like go say hi to the ladies at the bank, and then, then I'd go say hi to my friends, and then, and it's like this weird shift that's like, if you don't have anybody else counting on you, well, and it's probably different because you have Rachel, so I didn't have anybody, so it was like, well, if I
there was nobody relying on me, on
like,
you.
If I pay my mortgage, fine.
Yeah.
But I didn't have anybody, so it was like, well,
maybe that $3,000 a month in investing is your somebody.
Maybe. Yeah, I've had to find somebodies that aren't people.
Well, maybe that's your something that motivates you, that it's like, I got to get to this 3,000. Yeah. I know what the thing I was thinking about earlier. It was about discipline and like realizing that the things that you do and the time that you spend doing things that distract you, how much of it has to do with just disciplining yourself and just getting into habits of either avoiding things that you know are gonna put you off the path and distract you, versus saying like, I'm treating myself because I'm like rewarding myself for putting in the work.
Ah, that's good. Avoidance versus reward. I like that.
Well, it's like avoiding because you know that it's detrimental, versus saying, like, mentally saying, oh, I'm treating myself. I deserve to get some Instagram time because I worked in the studio for an hour and a half.
Yeah,
and then you
I
get
definitely
lost in it for 45 minutes.
Yeah, I definitely am an avoidance person as opposed to a treating person.
Yeah, I think little things like do not disturb help. Putting your phone down so you can't see it.
Oh yeah, today I started throwing, like, okay, so I try to throw Oh, also what I found, this is good. Also what I found, okay, I'll come back to what this morning, but I think it's really important to figure out how your body works too. Like, are you one of those people that needs to take breaks? Or are you, like Heidi needs to take breaks? Or, Heidi Fehrenbacher.
Like schedule breaks?
Yeah, remember in her episode, she was like, I take breaks. Lots of breaks.
Okay.
Yeah. And then I'm one of those people that needs to not take breaks. So when I get into the studio, I put in my earphones and I get right to work. And like today, I left my phone like on the wedging table or something and did 50 crumbles, which are small bowls, in 50 minutes. I'm one of those people that needs to just not take breaks. Like today was a great day for me for motivation. I don't know why. I think it took me like 4 days to get into the out of vacation / sick mode. But
yeah.
But like 50 crumbles, and then I knew that once I was done with those 50 crumbles, it was going to be lunchtime, and I'd take lunch. And then when I did the other thing, when I did Roy's, I did 15 of those, and like I set the time. I don't look at my phone the whole time. I don't do anything.
So you have your earphones in. I'm guessing your phone's not buzzing and like it's on do not disturb, or you're not hearing dings of people texting you or notifications.
Well, ideally nobody texts me. Like nobody usually texts me, but that's why I also have the Apple Watch, because if I see who texts me,
that would distract the shit out of me if I had an Apple Watch.
Really?
Yeah, that's one thing that's like, it's going to distract you. It's right on your fucking wrist. You don't think you're getting distracted? You don't think you're losing time? And not losing time as in like the 3 seconds that you look at it, but like, are you going into it for a couple minutes? Are you going into it and like setting you off? Okay.
No. I just look at it. I look at it, see who texted me, make sure it's not important, and then I go back to my work. And then once I'm done with that 50 minutes, then I'll check it.
Do you find yourself, does it mark it as red when you look at it?
No.
Oh, it doesn't. Okay, that's good. Mm-mm. I was like, I could see that you read it, you
and then
go away from it, and you forget about it completely.
Yeah, no, I would
fucking do that. I pick my phone up and I'm like, what the hell was I opening my phone for? Oh yeah, I was gonna like open this app and look up this one thing, and I'm on Instagram for 5 minutes. I'm like, what the fuck did I open my phone for?
I do that all the time. I almost texted you today and was like, could you please remind me that we have to do a podcast? Because today was just like a super forgetful day for me. But anyway, I come in and I make sure that, like the way that I start, okay, so the way that I started doing production at Rebecca's was the way that Dusty does production. Okay, so Dusty comes in, and he's a completely different person than me, so this is what works for him. He comes in, he throws 40 pieces or 32 pieces. He takes a break. He comes back. He throws 32 pieces. He takes a break. He comes back. He throws 32 pieces. He takes a break. He comes back. He throws 32 pieces.
All the same pieces, or just 32 crumbles, like 32 plates, 32 this?
Right. Like he does it in sections, okay? So he fills up his rack, and then he goes and takes a break, and then he comes back and fills up his rack. I tried that. So I would do like one shelf, and then I'd take a break, and I'd walk around, and then I'd do another shelf. And I was there for like 8 hours every single day because I couldn't.
Feels like it breaks your flow. Like you get into the flow about 2/3 of the way, or halfway through it or something, and then you're like severing that flow.
Exactly.
Intentionally.
So it completely breaks my flow. And so what helped me was realizing that I'm one of those type of people that I'm competitive. That's also a good motivation thing. I'm competitive, and I'm competitive against myself, which is helpful. But like, so now what I do is, like today, what was on my list was 50 crumbles, 16 Roy bowls, and then I didn't have anything else really on my list, but I did some other stuff.
What's a Roy bowl? Is that like a serving bowl? Or?
Yeah, it's 3 pounds, and it's like 9 inches wide. So they take a little time. Okay?
Yeah, it's a bigger bowl.
Yeah. So I got in, I started weighing out my clay, put my earphones in. Also, I have to have both earphones in because I get distracted. Both earphones, only music, and weigh out all the clay for 50 crumbles. And then I start the timer and make all 50 all at once. And then once that's done, I can take a break, you know? And then I throw all the rooibles all at once, and once that's done, I take a break.
Do you find yourself counting when you get close, or is
absolutely.
it like, all right, how many do I have left? How many do I have left?
Yeah, absolutely.
Are we done yet?
Yeah, for reals. Like, I'm always looking at my boards being like, okay, how many do I have left? You know? But that's what motivates me. Like, that's the way that I get through it fast. When I was done throwing today, I threw from 12 to 1. I took a lunch that was like almost an hour, maybe an hour and a half. And then I threw the rooibles from like 2:30 to, I'm going to say like 2:30 to 4.
Mm-hmm.
You know? And then I, 2:30 to 4. And then I was talking to Val at that time. And then I took like a tiny little break, and then I threw 40 of these other things. It took me 2.5 hours. Maybe, 4.5 hours to throw $200 or $300 worth of stuff. You know? And and then I trimmed for an hour. And so if I had done that the way that I was doing it when I first came in, the way that Dusty does it, I would have never gotten it done in time. It would have taken me twice as long.
Yeah. You know, I think that's where like a lot of the growth and the progress is just persisting. When you got to that point where you're like looking at the bucket of like, how many do I have left? And you just like push through it.
Yeah.
I think that's where it's just like some people, if you're like running or something, like, all right, you're pushing for 5 miles or something. You get to like 4.5, and you're like, you know, I think I can go to 6.
Yeah.
And you push for it, and you're like, all right. And then you're like, oh, I fucking hate this. My body hates this. But it's like, I'm going to push to like 6.5 and then call it. And then you feel like really rewarded. So I feel like some of that is where some people have that in them to like keep pushing. And then it just builds on top of it the next time you do it. And it's like, you know, gets easier and easier. That's probably how your efficiency gets better and better. And
yeah. Well, and like Dusty has the capability of just coming in and just doing it, you know, without even thinking. I really have to like make myself work for it, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, you really have to figure out what your flavor is. I was talking to one of the new girls at work today about that. You know, like you have to, like she threw like 125 small pieces, and she's like, I don't know, I feel like I should do more. And I was like, no, like 130 is good for the day. You're gonna kill your body if you do any more.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, I think there's probably hey, if I spend, 30 less minutes doing something, it could pay off, you know?
Yeah, that's what I was talking. Like, it's like you could be here for 8 hours and do 200 pieces, or you could be here for 4 hours and do 130 pieces every day, and then the next day you're only here for 3.5, and then the next day you're only here for 3 and 15 minutes, you know? Like, you could cut your time down, or you could just kind of go at a steady pace.
And another technique that I learned from just software development, some people don't like digging in and doing the same thing. Like some people like code for hours on end, but there's a Pomodoro method, which is like it's basically just a timer method. It's just like doing something for 45 minutes. Oh, yeah. And then the timer goes off and you stop what you're doing. You don't finish. You don't like say, all right, let me get to the stopping point. I'm almost there. You stop and you take like a 5-minute break, get your coffee or go to the restroom, take a walk or something. And then you get back to it and you focus for another 45 minutes.
Yeah.
And you like change tasks. I think that for ceramics, it's easy to do that. You could work on something for 45 minutes, get to a stopping point, stop, take a break, and then like do a different task. It could be, I'm going to glaze 30 things for 45 minutes, which seems like kind of a waste sometimes. Cause I'm like, I'm only glazing like 30 pieces. It seems like I'm not going to fill a kiln or I'm not going to fill half a kiln with the time I'm spending. Cause usually I'll glaze for like 4.5 hours or 6 hours. Because I want to have enough that I could fill an entire kiln plus another half of a kiln. Usually is how I glaze. But it's like, hey, I could put handles on mugs for 45 minutes because I hate doing handles or something like that.
Yeah.
Maybe that's what you do. Do something you don't like for 45 minutes, and then you're like, all right, well, I know I'm going to get a break, and I know I'm going to be able to choose the next thing I do.
Yeah.
So you
that's
throw
a great
for 45
idea.
minutes or something like that.
Yeah, I think that, like, I mean, we talk about motivation, but really, like, coping mechanisms for how to get things done is the biggest thing. You know, it's not even about motivation at that point. And, like, also, it doesn't fucking matter if you're motivated when you own your own business. Like, you have to fucking do it.
Your motivation is your bills are going to be due. Like,
yeah, you have to do it. Like, it's not
inspiration at that point.
It's not inspiration based. It's like, oh, you have to put food in your mouth based. So, you know, like, at that point,
it's kind of buck up a little bit, but it's
yeah.
I don't want to say buck up, but it's like,
you got to buck up. It's like, you got to do it. If you don't feel good that day, if you don't feel like making stuff, like, that's no excuse. Like, you're to the point where Charles. Like, even a painter, you know, that has to get inspiration, like, they still have to paint every day, you know? That's what we do.
Or you gotta reply to emails, and you gotta get back to people. You can't just say, all right, I'm just not gonna reply to that stuff until Friday. Like,
I do that.
I'm getting better about finding time. A lot of times I'll just say, all right, I'm going to leave the studio at 11 o'clock tonight. That way I have an hour so I can pack my order and I can reply to a couple emails that I haven't replied to.
Yeah.
And that never happens, of the replying to the emails part. Usually I'll just find time during work or something and say, all right, I can reply to this.
Man, it's like, I'm going to be part of the Indiana Clay Conference. Me, Josh, and Rebecca are all going to be on a panel. And hopefully the whole building doesn't burn down from our craziness. But but there's supposed to be like some cup show or some shit like that, and like he keeps sending emails to us like, you have to submit your cup to the show, and I'm like, I don't want to submit the cup.
Do you even have a cup?
I have one cup that I saved, and it's the best one. I don't know if I want to sell it.
Is it for fundraising, or what is it for?
No.
It's just like the featured talkers are gonna...
No, I mean, like, they're having an actual exhibition. Like an exhibition cup show.
But you have to do it? Or
I don't know if we have to.
It sounds like they're trying to get people to do it because they don't have as many people as they want.
Yeah, and then we have to, like, drop it off wherever, and I'm like, that's like when
That sounds like work.
That sounds like a lot of work that I don't want to do. And, like, when they're like, oh, we're looking for people to do, you know, talks and whatever, like, demonstrations, and I texted him, or I emailed him about it, and he was like, yeah, you can just send me a PDF, and I was like, I'm out. Like, or no, it was a PowerPoint. It was a PowerPoint, and I was like, I'm out. Nope. Like, you said PowerPoint, no. Like, we don't do that here. Not in this space.
It's like, can I, like, record myself talking to you on, like, a video and just tell you what I'm gonna do for, like, a 5-minute video rather than even, like, a 3-minute video rather than...
Right.
I'm not gonna do an entire PowerPoint presentation to give to you.
Like, I'm not a fucking teacher, man. Like,
I think that's where they're coming from there.
I don't even know how to use a PowerPoint.
Or you haven't made a PowerPoint since probably college or something.
High school, maybe.
High school.
Yeah. Rebecca was like, did he read your biography? Like,
which said, I am Becca, I make pots.
I am a potter.
I'm a potter. I'm a potter, and then your second sentence was like, I make pots fast or something.
Yeah. Well, yeah, so.
Oh, man. Yeah, I think figuring out what works with your personality, you know, what time you work most effectively, how can you say no effectively.
Remember, no once a day keeps the psychiatrist away.
So, the only other things in here that we mentioned in here was selling at shows. I think we previously have said, like, I'm pretty motivated at selling at a show because when I get home, I'm, like, pumped up about how much I sold, and I'm in restock mode of what I have been doing at the last few shows, and I've done it in the past every now and then, but I'll actually start making a list of things that I need to restock, like cereal bowls in this specific color, and I'll take that home with me because I already have almost everything out that I'm confident is going to sell at a show. So this is like my best work at the show. So I'm kind of like, okay, this is a good time to like get a lay of the land, see what had sold, what I got left, what I need to restock on. So that's where if you got a slow day at the show, like don't just sit there and like look at Instagram on your phone. Like, is there something I can do that's beneficial?
Yeah.
So that's something I do to be more effective when I get home.
Yeah, for sure.
So I have an actionable list.
Action journal. Yeah. Also, if you guys like journals, find an action journal. I think it's an orange.
Is that like
color.
a bullet journal?
Yeah, the one that I had was really good. I want to say it was Behave.
I feel like I saw that on somebody's Instagram. That wasn't yours.
It was mine.
I think it was Lindy's.
Oh, it's Lindy's. Yeah, Action Journal Notebook from Behance is really good. It's $17.50. And the inside is great because I got the orange one. They have a green, a blue, a red, and an orange. And it's really great because it has like bullet points that you put on the side, but then it has a grid pattern on the inside. And I've used that many, many years.
I want to ask you something. How many different planners or journals have you bought in your past?
A lot.
Do you use them?
Yeah.
All or most of them?
Most of them.
Okay.
I mean,
I feel like there's certain people that buy those that have this intention of doing something that is not in their lane of like how they work.
Oh,
like,
yeah,
I'm
totally.
going to bullet journal, or I'm going to calendar, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. And maybe it's just because Rachel has bought journals endlessly for the last number of years. So we have like 7 journals here, but you like try something out and you're like, all right, this bullet method might work. And some of it's just like figure out something simple that like works.
Yeah, no, I definitely think that trying to find the right system can be difficult, and like you have to buy all these journals, and obviously journals are cool anyway. Like I do like journals.
I mean, some of them she's bought because the covers look cool or something, but they're only filled in about a 20th of the way because you get like 4 pages in and then you're like, all right, I'm never gonna look at that again.
Yeah, but like, you know, when I bought planners and stuff, like I would buy calendars and I fill those out, and yeah, I mean, a lot of those calendars got me through Christmas, you know, like Christmas, wintertime. And yeah, I do use them. Like this action journal, I used in college, and I actually don't know how much of it I did use because I rip out the pages that aren't
in the past.
Yeah, that are in the past.
Yeah. Yeah, we had those in high school. You get the book, and it's got the lines for like, here's this class, this class, this class, this class on every single day, so you can jot notes down for every single class every day.
So what helped me and what like made me be able to do this method and like to write everything down, and also why I have no fucking memory anymore, is when I worked at Amsbury's Painting, I literally was required to write everything down. Like my boss said, you have to write all the things that we're doing down, because
just for documentation, so you remember how to do it without asking, or
and like I can't rely on your memory, even though my memory was really good at the time, and so I had to create methods that would work within the parameters that I was doing. And so
was that for somebody else to consume if they needed to?
Yeah.
If you were gone that day?
Yeah, or something like that, yeah. And so I had to create, like, systems and stuff to make, like, action journals. Because every day, you know, you're dealing with 20 different painters, 5 different jobs. 25 different customers that you're talking to and 5,000 different emails and all the things. And so I had to create like a system. I went through like 7 different systems to try and figure out what worked for me. And I finally found one that worked. But yeah, I mean, like,
I am like, in my mind, I am just a fucking cork board with a bunch of Post-it notes. That's what I mean, I told you yesterday or 2 days ago, like, my notes section on my phone is like 325 notes. It's like, I am just a habitual, individual page note taker. Either whether it's like this week, Sunday through Friday, and then I'm going to jot notes down for what I need to do those days, and then it's going to go in the trash at the end of the week. I am not a single planner, one spot to write everything down in. I'm like, all right, this note is related to work, so I'm going to put it in this folder, and it's going to be with this stuff, and then it's searchable. Like, I know I documented it somewhere, but it's a bunch of random little notes. Like, I just have paper that is like the back of the receipt or something from a invoice or something that's in the box that shipped to me, and I'll like use the back of it because it's blank because I don't want to waste the paper. So I'll like write my notes on there, and it's just a bunch of random notes.
I'm 100% a yellow pad. Preferably though, I would much prefer the box graph paper.
Oh,
like
yeah.
The ones for the engineers
graph
use.
paper. Yeah.
Yeah.
You used in like geometry class and stuff.
Yeah. Or the ones that just have the dots. I fucking love dot graphs.
Just the dots. I've never written on those.
Oh, it looks like this.
Are those for like drawers and stuff?
No. But you know what's great about these is that you can play
I don't like that because there's no line. I mean, there are lines, I guess, but I would feel like I'm just writing into the void.
I like it because when you get bored, you can connect the dots and make little things. Yeah, like, I'm just, if you gave me, like, all those journals, they do work, and I have used them in the past, but if you just gave me a fucking notebook, that's what I'd want right now.
See, I would get confused with where things are if I wrote everything in one notebook. But maybe if I had sections of like, all right, this is related to my commissions only. This section is related to my week to week.
Yeah.
And then this one is for my how much clay I weigh out for these specific forms. Like, I would want to group it out so it's like organized in some way.
See, you'd need a planner for that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not going to do that, though.
No. Yeah.
Because I'm worried that, like, I'm going to lose it or something. Or...
Right. See, like, your mind thinks in sections, right? So you're thinking in...
This is related to this, so I'm going to document it here.
Yeah, commission shows this. My mind is related to time. So I'm thinking January, February, March, April. Like, this is everything I need to do in January. Like, I'll even get a fucking, like, the calendar. I'll print out the calendar on, like, the Apple calendar and write in the calendar what I need to do each day and when things are due. And
my days would get too granular to fit on there.
Yeah.
I would get overwhelmed with the granularity.
Yeah.
That it would just freeze me.
Yeah, I'm also a full thinker, too. Like, I need to see the full page, you know? And, like, you could separate it out, right? So, like, this is
I could
great.
probably print that out for a whole week and be like, all right, this is my whole week. And I could jot some things down for the whole week. And, like, it's probably not a bad idea.
Yeah, but this is great because we do think so differently in the way that we, like, do things. And I'm sure there's a lot of people that identify with me where you're like, okay, I need to see the time. I don't really care if it's connected in space, you know? And then there's a lot of people that are like you that are like, the time's not really my issue. It's more separation of ideas, you know?
Yeah.
So, wow, I can't wait to listen back
to the different episodes.
Yeah, and see how we... Wow, Charles, is that 6 or 7? I think it's 6.
I think you're adding an extra 1 every single time you say it. I think it's more like 3, but...
It is not. We had 4, like, an hour ago. I promise. If anybody wants to do a review, you should say how many.
I just group them. Like if it's within like 2 minutes of the last one, I just group it. Like, all right, that's the 10 o'clock pass by. That's the 11 o'clock pass by.
That's cheating.
Now, if it's within like 15 minutes, I'm like, all right, that's a separate one.
That's a separate one. Yeah. I'm excited to listen back on the first episode to see how terrible we did, but also what we talked about, and if it was anything like what we talked about today. And also, I think that we should point out that if you guys want to hear another episode, to like rehash another episode, you should let us know, because I thought it was fun. Did you like it?
Yeah, I liked it.
Yeah.
I think trying to figure out like whether we keep on track with what we're doing in here, or if it's like, okay, just let it go and see.
Yeah.
Because you're going to dig up some other things that probably relate to other people that is like not so focused that could be a whole episode, but it's things that you uncover that's just about your work style, or what gets you excited or whatnot, besides like motivated. Like, are you happy about the things that you're doing? Is this commission going to make you happy, or is it not?
Yeah.
Like, that's some simple things of just like, hey, you can say no. Maybe it's just like, say no more.
Yeah.
One no a day. Like, maybe that speaks with people,
Yeah.
It resonates with people.
I hope so. It certainly resonated with me. It's great. I love it. Yeah.
I think being able to say like, I could do that, but
I don't want to.
I'm so granular with things that like I can see the impact of like making small decisions of like, okay, what am I dipping my toe into?
Yeah. Like,
how far is this going to go?
Yeah.
Am I doing this once and it's going to become something more? So, I mean, some of that goes in with like relationships too. It's like, you say like, all right, like I'm fine with that. And then you're like, okay, what are they going to ask for next time?
Right.
Because I said yes to that this first time, I'm
going to buy a notepad on Amazon right now.
A specific category of notepad?
The ones that are
the B one?
No, not the behave one.
Behave one, okay.
Yeah. Oh, look, there's one that you can erase. This is cool. Oh, Rocketbook.
It's called a fucking pencil.
No, it's called Rocketbook, and you use like a certain pen, and you write it down in your notepad, and then you scan the QR code, and it converts it to your phone.
That sounds like another app I got to download and another account I got to create. That sounds like too much work to me.
I mean, it sounds cool. I'm not going to buy it. I'm just saying. It's cool.
Those kind of things build up that I'm like, I'm not going to sign up for another app. I'm not going to create an account with that, because then I got to log it. No.
Yeah.
Do they have checkout with PayPal? All right, I'm cool. Let's do PayPal checkout. Fuck that. I'm not putting my credit card in another random website.
Okay, I'm going to get the Amazon Basics graph paper.
Nice.
It seems a lot. It seems like a lot of money, like, for a fucking notebook. Also, it has to flip up, not around. It's got to flip up so you see your progress.
What? You can't see your progress? Oh, because you, like, actually
You see the pages open? Flippy over.
Well, the thing is with that, you can just keep it open. You're not breaking the spine by... Well, I guess it depends on if you're using, like, a spiral notebook. You can just keep it open, but...
Yeah.
I never thought of that. I wonder if there's something mentally with people that have the things that flip
up. I don't know
on the vertical versus the horizontal.
Yeah, I don't know. I like flipping up. This $764 for 2 notebooks. That seems like a lot of money.
I thought you were gonna say like $15. $7
for 2. They're like full page notebooks.
I'm sure school's getting back in. Why don't you just wait and go to fucking Walmart and buy, or Walgreens or wherever, and get a notebook for like 15 cents?
I want the graph paper.
You don't think kids go to geometry class anymore? I'm sure they have graph paper notebooks.
I doubt it.
I'm sure you can get those things for like $1, less than $1 for a notebook. Loose leaf.
Wow. These are expensive. It's just expensive. Why is the world so expensive? Anyway, moving on. We should probably end.
When you were in school, did you have different colored notebooks for each class?
No.
No?
Are you kidding me?
That's how I organized myself. Like I would have like, okay, this English notebook is the red cover, and I wrote English on the bottom, and then my like science one was green, and my math one was blue. So I know which one I need to get out of my locker and stuff when I was.
I'm going to be completely honest. I don't remember.
You probably had one notebook to rule them all.
One notebook to
You just had a
find
1-inch
them.
thick notebook for 5 classes or whatever.
I might have, actually. No, I don't know. I wasn't a huge note taker in high school. I don't know. I honestly have no idea. I don't remember that part of my life, and it's not because I was alcoholic or drugged or whatever. I just don't remember it. Like, those are the details. I would end up
this semester with like a bunch of notebooks that had like 25 pages left in them.
I do remember we went to a bonfire and burned all our homework at the end of the year. Almost got the fire department called on us.
It's probably pretty cathartic.
It was my friends built.
Never gonna use that again.
Yeah, my friends built a huge tower of wood that was probably 10, 15 feet tall. And we burned it in their front yard.
Jeez.
Yeah. It took forever for that fire to burn down. God. It's 3 a.m.
Oh, gosh.
Yeah.
All right, Becca. Any last words?
$1 no a day keeps the psychiatrist away. $1's $1, and if you need money, find it.
Just all the sayings. I was just thinking of my dad that says all these things. Like, I understand that, and like, I'm just telling you. All right, Carlos.
My mom always says, well, it's a hole in the ground. Don't fall in it. Like when I would say, well, she's like, well, it's a hole in the ground. Don't fall in it. Or, hey, straw's cheaper. Grass is free.
There was somebody I worked with at the end of college that you would say like, yeah, but, and he's like, what's a yeah, but? And he like drew this guy that was like a caricature, and he just had a big butt.
Yeah, but did I ever tell you about that one time that did I ever tell you about I think I did. I lived at my professor's house over the summer when he was
gone. Yes.
While he was gone. Yeah, I think I told you about this on the thing. And on the trip. And so he was gone, and I lived at his house, and he had a canvas in his bathroom that said, "But you didn't."
Yes, you told me this, but I don't think it was on the podcast.
Yeah, so that's why I figured I'd say it again. So, so because everybody's always like, "Yeah, I could have done that." And he's like, "Yeah, but you didn't."
That's fucking great.
Yeah, but you didn't. Like, and that's always stuck with me. You know?
That's great.
It is.
But you didn't.
But you didn't.
3 words. There you go.
I could have made $5,000 on a painting that had one line on it. I could have made that, but you didn't. Like, do you have any last words?
No. You just killed it. You just dropped the mic like 3 times there. I mean, I can't top that. I can't top that.
Oh, all right. We'll see you guys later.
All right. Bye.
Bye. Yo, higgity yo. It's Becca here. Hey, just so you know, thank you for listening. And also, we have... What do we have again? A Patreon. We have a Patreon that you should go, and if you want to donate to, you could donate to it. If you don't, that's cool too. But just Google Wheel Talk Podcast Patreon. Don't do the other one, because there is a Wheel Talk on Patreon, but it's not us. So make sure you get the right one. It's in the show notes. And also, leave us a review, because they're fun to read. Okay, bye!